Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at GLMR, Moonbeam, effectively. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here and kind of take a look at some important key Fibonacci retracement levels, but also liquidity, fair value gap, and some interesting chart patterns that we're seeing form here on the 4-hour. So if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. I love teaching people to trade. Truly hope you can learn something here today. And if you do want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link down below, I teach you how to trade with my private trading videos. I also have trading signals where I send out 1 or 2 signals per day. Our most recent signal in 1.5 hours, correction, 1.5 days, 1 day, 16 hours. Took an avalanche short there, about 43% on our third target so far. So it's been awesome. Very, very good stuff there. Happy to have those results for you. Of course, again, thank you again so much for the wonderful feedback I've received from our community members. Oh, also, too, quick congrats to, was it RJ ETH? He took, 38% on his trade. So fantastic. I love that you're using 5x leverage, low position size leads to a much safer result, right? Again, high leverage, you run a high risk of getting liquidated, and it's no fun at all. All right, anyways, those are all things I teach in my trading academy. Check that out in your own time. On the daily, let's talk a little bit about here, because it's been a few days since I covered this one last. And I mentioned previously to watch out for the 200-day SMA. Price wicked up there, of course, and it's come down ever since. It's not the main reason why it pulled back, because it did sweep this liquidity here, but mainly the fact of the matter is here that is still going to be a strong resistance. So we got to be mindful that that's going to be something we may reject off initially once we come back there. We got the 200, of course, up above. The 20-day SMA is creating somewhat of a trend line here. Now, this isn't official by any stretch, but it's definitely looking pretty decent here. So we're just going to pull this up here and keep a close eye on that as well, see if that holds. And of course, the 50 days below us. So in truth here, we got 2 out of 3 wonderful, awesome situations here going for us. And looks like we're in good shape here with this coin. Okay, oh, geez, looks, we just got a notification here. What is that? Oh, cool, our ZRX trade there. 0x, 20% in 21 minutes. Congrats again, that's awesome news. All right, cool. So with this coin here, again, we're kind of considering taking a position, but I mainly like to kind of look at the big picture first. And so far, we're seeing some positive signs here. We came down to bounce off 50 on the RSI. We got the MACD swinging back upwards, potentially for a convergence here. We also have a few other scenarios as well we want to be mindful of. But for the most part, the daily is still looking pretty good. Okay, so truth is, we broke this descending trend, as you can see here previously. We were range bound, broke very strong through that descending trend, came back down to retest the most recent low here, which is about 0.236 on Fibonacci, that 19-cent mark, and we've been up ever since. So in truth, right now, we're looking at be in pretty good shape. The only thing I'm concerned about here is this volume profile. Take a look at how much volume is accumulated right there at about 23 cents. So the price does come back up here. There's a decent chance we could see the price pull back at that level. So to me, I'm going to be paying attention over the next 24 to 48 hours, kind of seeing what happens with this price action. We come up to this level here and we have difficulty crossing the 23-cent mark. That might be a decent shorting opportunity. So don't take away from this video that I'm considering a short at 23 cents. While that is definitely a consideration for the moment, I'm going to reevaluate before I jump into that trade. Okay? Please know that things can change in 24, 48 hours or a week's worth of time. Okay? It's very, very quick moving market. That being said, though, take a look here at this current situation where we're at right now. We can see on the 4-hour time frame that we have all 3 moving averages below the price action for the moment. That's a very positive sign. We're back up above 0.382 in Fibonacci, also good. Above 50 in the RSI, and MACD is converging as well. So the 4-hour is giving us some pretty strong signals here it wants to continue. Once again, though, we still have this resistance range here at about 23 to 24 cents. I'm a little leery about that, mainly because if you see here, of course, with the price action, this most recent low, we got a lot of volume accumulation right here. That should be the new high. So there's a good chance we could see the price reject off that level. So if we do establish a higher high here, that'd be a good sign. But if we come up here and reject off this level, I think we should experience a further downside. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert here right at about 23 cents, just so I can kind of get notified when the price enters that range, and I'll reevaluate, see if it's worth taking. Again, slightly more leaning towards that level as a potential short around 23, but just because I'm thinking that doesn't mean it's going to happen. Let's talk a little bit about well, overextension. I don't think we have much of one. Well, truth is we do. I guess we do. It's not a massive one, but we are up to an 8 on TT sequential. Really just tells us here that we got one more 24-hour candle here, looking at, one more 4-hour candle rather. So the next 24 hours, if we don't surpass 23 cents, once again, much more potential for the likely of pullback. But keep in mind, this coin does overextend itself. It came down to a 9 previously and continued much lower. So just because we're hitting an 8 doesn't mean it can't continue to run. Okay, so again, I'm still bullish on this coin in the overall sense. I think it's definitely going to recover, but it would make sense if the price kind of pulled back a little bit. Now let's talk a little bit about these chart patterns here too, though, because this is something that's interesting. Falling wedge patterns have a tendency of breaking out, which it has so far. We've also got a double bottom here as well that is effectively broken out. It does reaffirm here that this area about 21.5 should be a new support. Okay, so the interesting thing about that is we got a resistance at 23, support at 21.5. We could effectively be range bound here in the near future, and if so, we want to consider some alternatives later in the trading week. Okay. For right now, to me, when we have this transitional type of situation where we got some bullish confirming factors in larger time frames, but also some transitionary potential pullback areas based on volume resistance, I like to stay on the sidelines until it confirms one of two things. Confirmation for me is to continue to retest this level and not break through. Have some difficulty there, right? That would be the first sign. Second sign, of course, would be to make a lower low and a lower high. That would nullify a majority of the bullish continuation. We are still ascending positively. That's why I don't want to short into this. I do not like shorting into an ascending trend. Okay. Just be careful if you do end up shorting. Make sure it's a tight target. There's no guarantee this price is going to drop. Okay. And if you do short at 23, I would have some tight targets. Put it somewhere in the range of 22 or 21.5, so you can get filled and get out before the price wicks back up, because there's a good chance we could see the price continue to move upwards. Okay. Last but not least, on the hourly, let's go ahead and see where we're at in the cloud. This is something we haven't looked at in a little while. We are broken above the cloud. That's positive, but in truth, it's definitely not super, super strong. So awesome stuff there in that sense, but not the greatest for continuation. So it does feel like it's not going to want to continue much further. We have conversion line above the baseline. While there is all 3 green lights there, this lagging span is getting close to the price action. That's usually a signal to kind of consider closing your position. Speaking of signal, take a look at that. Oh, hey, second profit target, 30% for CRX in 24 minutes. Awesome. It's cool to catch that stuff live. All right, so again, those are all part of my trading community, cryptocash.tech if you want. They're fully automated trading signals. A lot of fun there. Thanks again so much for joining me here. I don't think we have much else to review. I'm going to send out a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Of course, these are always something that looks something along these lines. In fact, this is our ZRX here. This is our targets. We hit our 0.382 so far. Still looking at 0.5 and 0.618. So awesome stuff there in that regard. I hope that you learned something here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take good care.